Here we go now.
Here we go now. Here we go now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, enough of that. Oh, goodness. Guys, welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. Be sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and if you're listening to the audio version of our live recap on the Kempire podcast, make sure you give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify, okay? All right, as you can see, for those that are watching the video version of this, shout out to those of you watching on Facebook, those of you watching on Twitch or X, we appreciate you guys as well. You can see we've already started decorating. And when I say started, yes, I'm not done. No. Okay, I'm not done. I still have to decorate the tree. I just put the tree in so that, you know, this is a different tree. If you were here last year, I had another tree. I'm giving that away. But I got a different tree. I have another tree in the apartment in the living room. So you stay tuned for that. Make sure you follow me on social so you can see that. I will be decorating that as well. Haven't started that process yet because I had to watch Real Housewives of Orange County. Okay. I also had to do some reports on all this breaking news that's been happening from BravoCon weekend. Karen Huger was spotted at the airport. So there was a lot of stuff that I needed to do first before I can finish doing some of my Christmas decorating. But I've been doing some Christmas decorating all week, just little things. I have to say for the apartment, I'm not going all out that I normally would do at the house because I had floors to decorate, the outside to decorate. I'm just keeping it simple for me. Some of you were like, that's not that simple, especially when you see the amount of stuff that I had in storage that were Christmas related. But I'm not even putting out all my nutcrackers this year. I'm just putting out the more collectible ones out. The ones that I've been collecting over the years, I'm probably going to bring back to the house and put them out there. Because I still have the house. So I'm not going to go all out there either, but I will decorate at least the, some like the foyer, things like that. All right. You didn't come here for this, right? But I much rather us talk about everything else besides Real Housewives of Orange County. This did not need to be a 3-part reunion. I will have some controversial, unpopular opinions, but I don't care. I don't care if you agree with me. I don't care if you agree with me. These are my opinions. You feel free to have your opinions, but don't attack other people in the chat because they have a different opinion. And I understand why people might be conflicted because at one minute, I agree with Katie. Another minute, I don't agree with Katie, and I disagree with Jenn and Gretchen. I will say this. Based off of part 1, where you had a lot of Tamra, in part 2, it's very little Tamra. So dare I say I preferred part 2 over part 1. Even though part 2 had a lot of filler in the middle with some of the antics that have played out during the season. I'm just sort of like, this is a little filler, but I still enjoyed this week's episode versus last week's episode, where it's just like I'm over Tamra. And I saw after the fact, this is why I don't pay attention to social media. This is why I don't listen to other reviews, because I need to have my pure review before I feel like it will interfere with how I feel about an episode. So, but I saw after the fact on social media, people were like, without Tamra, that reunion would have been nothing. Y'all been saying that all season, and this has been probably one of their worst seasons. I haven't watched all the seasons, but a lot of you said yesteryear RHOC was fantastic. I don't know. But since I started recapping and talking about this since the pandemic, this definitely was probably their worst season. Because it's just like, what are we arguing about? It feels so forced. And I do believe a bunch of people are lying here. A bunch of people were lying. But before we get into the Real Housewives of Orange County, make sure you've liked the video if you haven't already. Shout out to our King's Guard. Shout out to our channel members. Shout out to our subscribers. And shout out to those of you still not subscribed, but you're watching in the bushes. I appreciate the watch. Can you like the video? I won't know. Just like the video. That way I can continue to show up without you subscribing. All right. Today's a live recap of the Real Housewives of Orange County. When I say live chat. This is pre-recorded. I told you I probably maybe during the reunion would go live and talk about it. It's still not worth it. I thought I might be enticed to go live and talk about it live. Plus, I've been busy. I have other things that I need to do. This has been another week of just jam-packed appointments, errands, meetings. I didn't have time. And can you imagine if I went to BravoCon? Then y'all really weren't going to get this recap. Y'all lucky I'm here. Just saying. But shout out to those of you that are enjoying BravoCon weekend, because you guys keep asking, and I've been telling you guys for weeks now that I'm not going to BravoCon this year. It was my choice. I could have went. I did not want to go. Y'all know I just came back from traveling. I didn't get to travel at all during the year because I was covering the Diddy case. It was busy, blah, blah, blah. So I was just traveling. We had the government shut down. So airports have been a hot mess for the last few weeks. Then I have a lot of stuff that I'm working on and wheeling and dealing and taking care of and making sure, because of the years and decorating for the holidays. A lot of this stuff would interfere. So I have to sometimes just slow myself down. Like, let me just stay home. Like this weekend, I'm looking forward to just being like cuddled up in a blanket somewhere and just watching Christmas movies or watching again. What's the name of the show? Squid Game, The Challenge. I am loving it. Are you guys watching Squid Game, The Challenge? If you don't know what it is, it's not the scripted series. It's the reality version to the scripted series. And I love it. I love the season 1. They're playing for $4.65 million. They just released the latest 4 episodes or something like that. Oh, the next episode will be the finale. It got really intense, but you have to think about some of these people. They are betting on this is going to change my life. $4 million. And even after taxes, you will still be a millionaire. So they are battling, and people's personalities, again, you're watching hundreds of people. Yeah, like literally, it's like, I don't know how many 100 people. It was like a couple hundred people that were competing. So during parts, you're introduced to certain people, and then you get emotionally invested, and then they are killed. Yes, like they do this weird like paintballs, like black paint once you are eliminated, and then everyone does like a fake dying. Honestly, if you're a family member of the person, like when the older people die on Squid Game, The Challenge, I'm like, I don't want to see my dad die. Or my mom die on this game. In the scripted version, do they really die? Every time I watch this reality show, I'm like, maybe I should watch Squid Game, because you guys say good things about it all the time, and I'm sure it's brilliant. It's based off a Korean program, right? Am I making that up? And a lot of you love Korean television. I always hear that as well. I talk about television for a living. So sometimes I can't even get into things that I could be getting into because of y'all. No, look, let me just blaming y'all and my crotchety, because I'm recording this late at night after pulling apart these trees, okay, and cleaning up and moving stuff. And all right. Whoa, Kempire. All right, fine. Don't feel sorry for me. All right, I almost completely forgot. Today's recap of the Real Housewives of Orange County is brought to you by our friends over at Factor. As you know, I love me a Factor meal. OMG, Factor meal has been getting me through the last week. Last week, it really helped. So I didn't have to think about it. I just popped one out, put it in the microwave for like 2-3 minutes, It was ready to go and it was delicious. Factor has got you covered during this fall season, your busy schedules. I get it. Fall always feels like like a reset. Between back to school, busier routines, and shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough. That's why I personally love Factor. Their chef prepped, dietitian approved meals makes it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious, no matter how hectic the season gets. And it's about to get even more hectic, guys, with the holidays right around the corner. I know you're probably thinking Thanksgiving's coming up, so I don't really need Factor. You're gonna need Factor after you cook all that stuff, and then you'll be like, all right, I'm tired of all of this, and I don't feel like cooking, so I need these. Or maybe you're going with your family and you're coming back and you don't have any leftovers. Oh. So they have more variety of more meals. Choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. More importantly. And for the first time, try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. You also have from more choices to better nutrition. That's why 97% customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life, feel the difference no matter your routine. I will say that it really did help me feel like this is a well-balanced meal. I don't have to think about, oh, I'm eating junk tonight because I'm too lazy to cook. So Factor really makes it so much easier. And of course, I've gotten you a discount. Eat smart at factormeals.com/Kempire50 off and use code Kempire50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code Kempire50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. More details on Factor and your discount will be available in the description. Okay? So let's get to this episode. I did take a little notes because, let me tell you what happened last week. Look, looky. So last week, if you were here during the premiere of our live recap of Real Housewives of Orange County Part 1 of the reunion, then you saw we played the audio from Bravo. Shout out to our friends at OMFG Reality TV. So we played the audio, we'd stop, and I would provide commentary. I thought that would be fine, fair use, whatever. We're promoting this failing show. Apparently not. Bravo, I guess whatever automated system that they had picked up on it, and they were like, nope. So what I decided to do was to have them trim out any of the audio. So that's why our hour-long recap went on to be 25 minutes. What can I say? Anyway, but again, if you listen to the podcast, you heard the entire thing. And if you watched the live, then you got to see and hear the entire thing. We won't be doing that today because Bravo, whatever. So if this recap ends up being 30 minutes of us talking about your failing show, there you go. Anyway, okay. So at the top of the reunion of part 2 of the Real Housewives of Orange County reunion, it's a continuation of Tamra and Gretchen and their conversation from last week. But Andy says, we'll get back to that. It's so haphazard how they do these reunions. They start talking about something and they're like, oh, we're going to get back to that because this is how they stretch out these stupid reunions. And I get it. You got to make a bag and you have a schedule and you have advertisers and blah, blah, blah. But it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. If you don't have enough for a full 3-parter, and you definitely didn't for this season, make it a 2-parter and fill it with something else. Work that out. But anyway. So it moves on from Tamra and Gretchen, and you saw the big blow up that Tamra had last week. She's like, you just won't leave me alone. You're always coming for me. Woo, 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 Tamra. You saw Tamra and Vicky Gunvalson recently reunited. The thing is with these women, it's so rehearsed. It's so like we see what you're doing. It seems like they're already doing a soft launch of Vicky Gunvalson coming back next season. But what is Vicky coming back to do? What are we talking about? Oh, because they dropped these little moments because Tamara brought up, well, remember she was talking about Gretchen and Gretchen cheating. And Vicky and I were there. And I was like, are they starting to do a soft launch for Vicky to come back so you guys can talk about in season 20 beef from 20 years ago? I don't want to hear it. I get it's the 20th anniversary next year. I don't want to talk about beef from 20 years ago. Like, we're good. But okay. Well, then it leads to a conversation. Where's my? Oh, I was about to say, where's my water bottle? 'Tis the season. Cheers. Doo. All right. Someone told me when I was live that they found this in Marshalls and they were able to get one. I will say the one that I normally go to, they had it that first week. It was like in October, and for those that are listening to this, I'm talking about my crystallized gemmy water bottle with the gingerbread men on it. Well, the thing is, when I literally saw this in October, I said, let me get this now because watch, come November, early November. I mean, honestly, the following week after I went back, they didn't have any more of these. Just saying. Honestly, like I said, I'm gonna probably give this to my niece because I'm like, why am I holding on to any of this crap? Okay, moving on. What was I saying? We're talking about Real Housewives of Orange County. I forgot why we were here. Hmm. So Tamara and Jen get into what's been their issue over the season. And look, this is where I agree with Jen, and I understand because Jen's not the only person saying this about her friendship with Tamara. Heather has said it. Emily has said it. At what point does Tamara take ownership that it's not just one person saying it? So Jen talks about some of the issues that they had over the season, and Andy says, "Have you guys like where does your friendship stand?" And she's like, "I don't know where our friendship stand." Jen says, and Andy's like, "Have you guys spoken since the end of the season?" And they were like, "No." So I guess that tells us where you guys stand. Especially because Jen has a friendship with Gretchen, which Gretchen is not doing you any favors. If anything, Gretchen has taken you down in so many different ways. And I get it. It'll probably be hard for you to distance yourself from that friendship at this particular point. But I think you should. It's not making you look great. And I have to say, based off of this part two, it felt like the women finally started to embrace Jen. And I love hearing that Jen is financially secure, probably from doing this show and doing sponsorships. And good for Jen. I have to say, Jen, when you look at what Jen has gone through from being the doting wife and not really having much of her own, owing rent, money issues, blah, 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 Jen has really gotten herself, yes, with help from Ryan, but she also has put herself on this show and is making her own money. And she's come a long way. Even Emily had to give her kudos. But before we get to that, Tamra and Jen talk about the issues, and they talk about that fat photo that Heather and Tamra were talking about. Tamra says, we were talking about so many different things, not just that. We were talking about Teddy coming, when it comes to her cancer and stuff like that. Heather's explanation in regards to her reaction to that photo did not land for me, did not answer any questions. Heather, you were being a mean girl along with Tamra. You were, okay? And you guys were trying to make a joke. Tamra was trying to say, oh, she wants to be me. Tamra was still doubling down during this reunion that Jen wanted to be her, live near her, dress like her, wear her hair extensions. Very clearly, Jen explained what that was in regards to the hair extensions. It was a joke, okay? So Tamra brought that up from the past and used it against Tamra used it against Jen this season. So, and then when they talked about, because you remember Tamra said that Jen and Ryan wasn't the first time that Jen cheated on her husband. And Jen was like, where did you even get that from? That's not true. I've never cheated on my husband besides with Ryan. And Tamra's like, well, I heard the rumor. See, this is why they don't like you, Tamra. This is why they feel like they can't trust you. You will just bring up anything with no regard for anyone's life, their family, none of that. Because now you're causing a real issue for Will, who's not on this show. There already were issues between them. And there were so many things that she did on this show that jeopardized real things for Jen. That's why I would never want to be friends with Tamra Grudge, because she will do anything for the show. And that's weird. That's weirdo behavior because you're a grown woman. And if this is all you have, that's pretty damn sad. But anyway. So, but Tamra's like, oh, I mean, I heard a rumor. And so you just spit it out. So Jen says that's her issue with Tamra. She's like, she feels like you'll weaponize anything that you hear about us, or if we've told you something, and then you'll weaponize it. And she hasn't changed. She didn't have a good response to that during the reunion. But like I said, for the most part at the reunion, Tamra was actually quiet in part two, which I was okay with. You do see some of her reactions because you could tell Tamra and Katie were in an alliance for this reunion. Just saying. So then Jenn gives us an update on her engagement. She has not set a date. She says, she's not in a rush to get married. I mean, first of all, I get why Ryan proposed to her for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know why he proposed to her, because it's not like she was pressuring him, or maybe she was, and that hasn't been something that's shared on the show. But she's not in a rush to get married. Can you blame her? The ink ain't even dry on her previous marriage and divorce. I get why she would not want to rush into that. So she explains why she doesn't want to rush into that, because of the things that she's gone through, and she's trying to get back on her feet. And now she's in a good place where she says, God forbid, if everything was to fall apart with Ryan, I would be okay. And Emily, as you know, Emily has been a huge critic of Jenn, and Jenn not paying her bills and things like that. And Emily gives her kudos in her reunion. She's like, she's come such a long way, and I'm glad that she's been able to do that for herself. And Jenn gives credit to Emily as well, saying like, some of the things that they said really did help me make these decisions and put me in the position that I am today. I have to say, when you look, Housewives and reality television doesn't always help people. But in this particular situation with Jenn, I could see how this reality show and being around these women, I know, although toxic at times, but being around these women have been great sources of information. Because you see that Jenn at one particular point gave kudos to Heather as well. So being around these women have been a source of encouragement and information for Jenn. So if anything, that's a positive, right? Yeah. So Emily says that she's proud of Jenn and how she's handling her current situation with Ryan. Gina addresses calling Jenn and Shannon's friendship, fake. And Jenn explains like, well, I didn't really want an engagement. I didn't want them to do anything for me, but she really did appreciate Shannon doing it. And the fact that Shannon spent so much money. Shannon was so embarrassed that, but this is what Housewives does. They share how much a person spends, but she said she was very embarrassed that they even shared how much she spent on this sort of engagement. But she said on Watch What Happens Live, we throw events. This is a part of Housewives. So it was a combination of that she wanted to help Jenn, but it's a part of the show. Here's the thing. Gina saying that their friendship was fake. We talked about this during the season. One of the friendships that I'm liking right now, but it's like a sweet friendship. I really believe that Jenn likes Shannon. I really believe that Jenn takes a look at Shannon and she giggles to her. Very much like what I've liked. I always say it's like a grandmother energy, and it's not an ageist thing. She has like there's a sweet thing to her, but she's also kooky. Like if I was to have my grandmother was, may she rest in peace. Both. I mean, I didn't really get to know my mother's mother, but my father's mother, I grew up with. But she wasn't soft and sweet like that. She wasn't, I don't have those heartwarming memories of my grandmother where she's like, oh, baking cookies or doing, like, I don't have any of those kind of, also, when I say I grew up with her, I didn't really grow up with her around all the time either. So when I look at Shannon, I kind of get that energy. Like she'd probably be like a kooky grandmother and fun, and you know what I mean? But also like kooky and like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? So Jenn genuinely, like when they were in Amsterdam, she's looking at her and she's like looking at Shannon like, you're a mess, but I'm into you. Like I believe that Jenn genuinely likes Shannon or loves Shannon at this particular point. You saw the room Shannon went to. Shannon has known those other ladies for a very long time, but she went to Jenn's room, okay, with her bag of chicken. Well, we'll get to what happened in that room in a second. Okay, so Gina says, Gina also like Gina, were you there? Like, she spoke very little. She spoke very little in part two. Emily definitely spoke a lot more, but I was like, oh, I forgot that that Gina was there. But so Gina addresses that and she downplays what she was saying about their friendship being fake. Okay. And then she also talks about some of the things that she said when it comes to that she was worried about Shannon. Shannon says that I don't need you to be worried about me. I'm being accountable for myself. And so she addresses when Gina was talking about her drinking and things like that. I don't know what the issue is with Shannon. The biggest issue for me, especially when we talk about people like Shannon or Karen Huger, it's one thing if you have an issue with alcohol or maybe you just like to drink, but just don't get behind the wheel of a car where you're going to endanger yourself, Archie's life, and someone else's. Period. It's one thing to have your issues. It's another thing to involve other people in those issues where you could take their lives. As I said to you guys before, I did a short form video and I talked about how Karen Huger was pictured or videoed at the airport heading to BravoCon. She will be at BravoCon this weekend. All right, moving on. So they end up talking about, because they do in the middle of the reunion. Like I said, I felt there was a lot of filler in the middle of the reunion. So then they start talking about Emily getting that dry humped by the dancer at the Abbey, and then they start talking about cock rings. And Andy was just like, "It's supposed to make your thing look bigger." Well, no, Andy. I was shocked. I don't know if Andy was trying to act demure in front of them, or maybe he really doesn't know. Men normally wear those rings around their privates in order to stay stiff and look stiff. It depends. People wear them, so that's why it's not to appear larger. It's so that it will stay large stay large for an extended period of time. It's moving the blood. I like to teach the heterosexual women that watch this channel, like the gay boys in the chat will be like, yeah, that's why yeah that's why they wear them. And some people wear it for pleasure. I guess if you're sensitive in that area, some people wear it for pleasure. Men, when I say people. All right, let's move on. Reminder, guys, if you like my t-shirt that I'm wearing, you can find it at houseofkempire.com. That is HAUS of Kempire.com. We've got Are You Okay merch as well. And we have some tour merch for you if you missed out on the Kempire After Dark Villain Era tour.
I am the fifth member. How about that?
You can head on over to our website for more details on that. And it's the holidays, as you can see here in the studio. Go get your merch today. And don't forget, we are giving out birthday messages, anniversary messages, Christmas wishes. So if you want a message from me, head on over to the description for more details on how you can book me on Cameo. All right. And again, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Orange County. Look at me being consistent and making sure you guys get this recap. All right. It's almost 30 minutes so far. All right. And I still have more to talk about. Who knew? I mean, I've been talking about a lot of stuff, though. That's the only way I can get through this. Okay. All right. Moving on from that. So they explain what one of those rings are. All right. So Jenn talks to Shannon backstage during their lunch break. And she was talking to Ryan. So Ryan was, I guess, driving his friend, the one that was locked up or getting locked up. And apparently Nicole, this other, I guess that was Matt's girlfriend or something like that. I can't remember what it said. Anyway, that's the connection there. So apparently Nicole must have met Katie, and she says that Katie was trying to dig up information on whether or not Ryan had any involvement or any illegal activity with this guy Matt, who is his best friend. Remember, that was the narrative anyway that Tamra was putting out there, that Ryan was a criminal and he was connected and blah blah blah. So Ryan basically says that she was trying to dig up information through Nicole, and Nicole basically, she could see right through it. She's like, that woman is weird. But here's the thing, and I know you all gonna be like, oh, Jenn, because a lot of you are on the Katie train. But I've been telling you, you got to pay attention to the signs when it comes to some of the weirdo behavior from Katie. And we've been talking about this since last season. I said I'm going to let it go for this season, but it's still going to be in the back of my mind, only for more information, including information her own bestie is turning on her. One of the things that stood out to me, because I have a degree in psychology. One of the things that stood out to me, I'm going to plead my case to you guys. Pay attention to when Jenn and Katie are arguing about their friendship at the end of part 2 of the reunion. Jenn is talking about the friendship, the emotion. Katie is talking about her check. I told you there was something about Katie that is, I don't want to say narcissistic, but there's something clinical that I'm not diagnosing anyone, but there's something about her lying that's pathological. And I'm sure there's more that we have not seen on the show that this group of women, or more so Jenn, who's had a friendship with this person, she talked about the emotion of missing the friendship and how connected they were. Katie was unable to do that. That stood out to me. Did anyone else pay attention to that? Or when you go watch it now, please pay attention to that. You hear Jenn talk about the emotion of the friendship, and Katie is talking about the financial impact of her not being on the show. But we will get to that. So during lunch, apparently, I guess this will probably come out in part 3. They didn't need to drag this out, but okay. Because if we skipped all that middle fluff that they had in part 2, we could have got to it in part 2. But anyway, I see what they're doing. So we learn about, apparently, Katie was trying to get information on Ryan through Nicole, but Nicole saw right through it, and she was like, this woman, something's very off about this woman. And, well, I don't think this is even that smart either, Katie, because why would you go to Ryan's, like, this guy's his best friend's girlfriend or friend? I don't remember what the connection was. I think it was girlfriend. And think that she was going to give you information on Ryan. Like, why would you think that? But that in her mind, because she was like, oh, I can introduce you to casting and blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of stuff about Katie that's a lot more sinister than people are willing to give her credit, because everyone else on this cast is so damn unlikable that everyone is just like Team Katie. And also, some of y'all are just Team Katie because she's pretty privileged. Some of you. I'm not saying all of you. And she is a beautiful woman. I'm not going to take that away from her. She is a beautiful woman. Okay. So we find out about that during the lunch. They come back from their break. Jenn and Katie discuss the issues that they've had in their friendship. Okay. And Jenn is saying that things just were not making sense. And she's been saying that throughout the season. She says things with Katie just wasn't making sense. Okay. She then addresses the insensitive posts. I never saw the video. I'm glad I never saw the video, because apparently it was very insensitive to Asian people. And I didn't know how this got twisted. And Andy was like, it was pretty dumb of you guys to, it was pretty dumb of you to even post something like that. Because even some of the sounds that they were making. Katie then accuses Jenn of blaming her for, I guess, the people's reaction for calling her racist and things like that. And Jenn was like, well, no. The fact that you know my character, that was my issue. You know who I am. We've talked about how I'm raising a person of color. Remember, she adopted a person of color. She's like, so I'm not that type of person. So, and Katie's just like, but you blamed me. And apparently Gretchen did apologize to Katie, but Katie says it was ChatGPT. I don't know if it was ChatGPT. It could have been. I don't know. She never said that she verified that it was ChatGPT, but she said it's not the way that Gretchen speaks. Even if it was ChatGPT, why would you even say that? Why not just take it as, at least she apologized. Your own friend that you've known for a while now and you talk to every day didn't apologize to you, but the other person involved did. Does it matter if it was ChatGPT? Shouldn't the intention mean more? Even though Gretchen denies that it was ChatGPT. Some of y'all are using ChatGPT for those types of things as well. So, but my thing is, I don't even, now that I think about it, I'm like, does it matter? At least she had the wherewithal to reach out to you and apologize. Can't say the same for Jenn. Jenn didn't do that. At least that's what I would say. I'm like, well, Katie, yeah, okay. If it's ChatGPT, Heather Dubrow was like, you can do that with ChatGPT? Apparently, yes. But now that I think about it, I'm just like, well, at least, and look, I am not Team Gretchen, especially when we start talking about white girl race, racist? No, wasted. Look, Freudian slip. But I have to say, like, at least she apologized. If it was ChatGPT, maybe she didn't know the right words, and she was just like, you know what, this might be the best way for me to apologize. What are the best way for me to apologize? Now the apology is not good enough for you. Okay, girl. Okay, Katie. All right. What else happens? So Gretchen sent her a ChatGPT apology. So Jenn says that Katie would tell her stuff about the other women. And then she was like, well, you tell me stuff too. But she was just like, well, no, it was some of the stuff that you would tell. It was, I forgot her exact words, but the way the way that Jenn described it, it seemed as if it was like some like dark stuff that she was saying that Katie was telling her, or things that just ended up not being true. But again, it kind of goes back to the whole Kiki Monique of it all, and what Kiki says that Katie was saying to her as well during that lunch. There's just a thing about Katie and the way that Katie moves. So it's not even just about talking to bloggers. It's just the way that she's talking about this group of women. And I think Katie should not come back next season, because I could feel like I said before, I feel like it's pathological, and I feel like she will do it again. And I don't feel like she's really ingrained herself with this group. And even if they change some of the cast for next season, I think she would do it again. I think this is just something that she's done. I would like to speak to some of the people that call her friend or knew her over the years, because that would be quite interesting to hear what they have to say about her character. Because you're not telling me this is the first time that she's said or done things like this before. But maybe I'm wrong. Look, maybe I'm wrong. So Jenn says, like, when they would have conversations, Katie would say certain things about the women. And so now they start getting into naked, wasted, and all of that played out. I do not believe. Look, I'm not going to even rehash what they all the back and forth on what could have happened. We saw on camera Gretchen say that she did say that in regards to saying that she went to the hospital, and Andy says, like, my thing is, if Gretchen had went to the hospital, I feel like that would have come out in the last 15 years. It would have come out during that season's reunion. So Emily believes, like, well, you know how some people start telling a story and then all of a sudden it gets exaggerated, and that's a dangerous exaggeration though. But I don't believe Gretchen. I definitely don't believe Slade. Matt's actually there, and Slade and Ryan were invited. So you're telling me I could see maybe Ryan not showing up, but Slade, the thirsty mother father, and Gretchen try to paint it like, oh, well, you know, everyone's always calling him thirsty, so that's the reason why he decided not to come.
Lies! The lies!
No, he decided not to come because he probably was afraid of what Matt had on him. He was probably afraid that he would not be able to back up this story, because apparently there were lots of conversations about what may have happened. And this is where I look at Jenn with the side eye as well, because I do feel like she's not towing the line when it comes to Slade and Gretchen. Like, she's really being loyal to them. Now it's making her look like a liar, which is going to make people question everything else that she has said. But I believe everything else she has said in regards to Katie. What I don't believe is in regards to this naked wasted situation. I don't believe her, and I don't believe Gretchen. And I do believe Katie in regards to this, in regards to, you know, what was told to her. I don't believe Katie though when it comes to her not telling Kiki Monique any of this. They do talk about Kiki Monique, and they keep referring to her as a blogger. Andy's like, I got to clear something up. Andy has a loyalty because she works for him, Kiki. She's like, she's not a blogger, because apparently he don't like bloggers either, because he has no respect for bloggers. She's not a blogger. She's a podcaster. What else did he say she was? I forgot what else he said. Here's the thing. I don't care what you guys call me. I've been called a TikToker, a YouTuber, a podcaster, a blogger. I don't care what you guys call me. What I care is what I call myself. And I'm an entrepreneur. I work for myself. I work for the Kempire LLC that I own and run. Okay? So you could call me what you want to call me. People are like, oh, this blogger, that blah, blah, blah. First of all, I will defend Kiki Monique. She actually has a degree in journalism. So she is a journalist. So put a little respect on her degree. Okay? As you know, people refer to me as a journalist because of the way I carry myself and the way I report on different hot topics and news and things like that. I have a lot of journalists that respect the work that I do here. I have a lot of journalists that follow me. So I appreciate the kudos, but I never refer to myself as a journalist. I always refer to myself as an entrepreneur, period. But people have their names for you and whatever it may be. But the thing is with this show, and even with the fans of the show, they like to make it seem like blogger is an insult. Blogger is a job that actually makes good money for a lot of people. Okay? So the whole sort of, especially some of these housewives, some of these bloggers are making more money than y'all. I'm just saying, some of them are. There are a lot of bloggers that are making tons of money, that are millionaires. I'm not one of them yet. Okay. But they make it seem like blogger is a bad word. And Andy sort of regurgitating that she's not a blogger, because that tells me what he thinks of bloggers as well. She's not a blogger. Well, she might not be a blogger, but you were at one particular point, remember? Remember he used to do a blog on Bravo TV before he created his own show and blah, blah, blah. Just saying, there ain't nothing wrong with being a blogger. You got to start somewhere. I can't wait till y'all refer to me as the daytime talk show, Emmy award-winning daytime talk show host, Kempire. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hold on, look at my Emmy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's not real. This is my manifestation Emmy. Okay. And I like to thank God, and I'd like to thank my community for all that they have done, and they continue to lift me up. They were co-creating this moment with me. I'd like to thank Meredith Marks for this rant, because this deserves an Emmy. Go.
Meredith can go herself. I'm done with her.
I know
because
Lisa
I'm not
Barlow,
a
but
whore and I don't cheat on my husband. Her and a dumb family that poses. Why don't you own a house? Wait, you can't. Because your husband changes jobs every 5 minutes? Fake Meredith is a piece of I have your back and I'm offended by that. You, that piece of garbage whore. I hate her. She's a whore. She's half of New York. She can go herself.
And the Emmy goes to, for best performance in a reality television, Lisa Barlow. Okay. All right. So anyway, I'm sure a lot of you are like, oh, I did not expect that we would get a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City moment during our Orange County recap. Well, much better than Orange County, right? Right. So Matt ends up coming out to talk about this after Slade and Ryan declined to attend the reunion. Because when I saw him there, I was like, why is Matt there and the other husbands aren't? But Andy says that they were invited and they declined. I wish we had gotten to the bottom of why they declined, because I saw that Jenn was starting to say, but she never got to finish. Gretchen says that, he didn't, Slade didn't want you guys to call him thirsty and blah, blah. He is thirsty. He didn't come because he probably was going to be called out. But here's the thing. Gretchen spills tea in regards to Matt, because Matt is just he's like there to have his moment. Shannon's talking to Gretchen. She's like, let him speak. He's shaking. Let him get it out, and then he'll be done with it. Because she's a pro. She knows how these things go. Just let him speak his business, and that way he can go. And he's. I mean, again, it's never going to look great because the other husbands have chosen not to be there. So he's going to address these women that are going to be coming at him. So I'm not mad at Matt for defending his wife. Their partners could have been there too to defend them and engage with him, but they chose not to be there, which is quite telling to me. So Matt is spitting all the facts in regards to what went down when it comes to this whole conversation that he had with the couples. And apparently Gretchen, because of the conversations that were had, she says something that I was like, wait a minute. He said, what? She said, Matt apparently said the second that he met Eddie, Tamra's husband, I knew he was gay. This is what Gretchen said that Matt said about Tamra's husband, Eddie. And look, there's been speculation. The fans have said stuff like that over the years. I don't know. I could say a lot about Eddie that I don't necessarily love. That's not one of them. Okay. So let's address that, Matt. Did you say that? Okay. And what do you guys think? For those that are just joining us, this is pre-recorded, but the live chat is live chatting. So shout out to everyone in the live chat. So let me know what you think in regards to what Gretchen said Matt apparently said. Do you believe that he said it? I don't remember what Matt said. So like I said to you before, as Matt is going off and sharing his facts of what went down, and apparently there are text messages to prove it, and Gretchen says she has text messages to prove it. He's like, I have text messages from AT&T to prove and phone logs and calls and things like that. So it then goes back to this argument between Katie and Jenn. And Katie says to Jenn, you effed with my paycheck. And Jenn is like, what? And this is why I said this interaction, these last couple of minutes of the Real Housewives of Orange County reunion, you got to watch and pay attention. As I said to you before, Jenn is talking about losing a friendship and the emotion behind losing the friendship. Katie is talking about the check. Those are little tells. Okay, I have a degree in psychology. I am not saying that it's fact. What I'm saying, pay attention to that. Because I was looking for the emotion. I was looking for Katie to talk about, like, I miss my friend. And yes, I know during the season she talked about that and she got emotional and she talked about that. But I thought at this reunion that it was interesting that her immediate conversation here was about her check. I don't think they were hurting for a check, but maybe they were. But Katie spilled some tea, y'all. And the tea that Katie spills is the fact that, and she looked at production, because if you pay attention to when she says this, she looks at production. She says, in regards to Jenn affecting her money, she says that they said that even if you were slightly aligned with Katie, if Jenn was slightly aligned with Katie, she would have been able to continue to film. So basically, none of them would film with her. But even though Emma was like, that wasn't our decision, that was not our decision. But apparently, production felt like, well, Katie needs at least Jenn in order to film. And Jenn felt like she couldn't do it. And look, I'm not going to be mad at Jenn, because based off of what Jenn is describing when it comes to their friendship and how she couldn't trust Katie, especially if what Nicole, Ryan's friend's girlfriend, said is true, I could understand why she would want to distance herself from Katie, because Katie was starting to, first of all, throw her under the bus, says, you were there. And she's like, I was there? I don't remember saying that. Like, when was I there? Remember, that happened multiple times during the season. That even happened during the reunion. Even Shannon was just like, here we go again, with you telling that she was there for something and you're using her as your leverage. I will say this. Every time that Katie says that Jenn was there was no information backing up. Oh, you were there. Remember, we went to this particular restaurant on this particular day. Remember, you were there. Here are the text messages. Remember where we said, I'll meet you there at this particular... There's clearly enough information to be like, yeah, remember, we all hung out on this particular day and time. We made the plans. I have it in text. And I'm pretty sure that's how they made their plans. But maybe not. Maybe not. Okay? But yeah, so that's how part 2 of the Real Housewives of Orange County reunion ends. This battle between Katie and Jenn. as I said to you before, I feel like Jenn and the Gretchen and the naked wasted of it all, I believe that they concocted that lie. Gretchen's excuse was that she misspoke. Shannon defends her. She's like, we misspeak all the time on this show. So it's very possible that she misspoke. I don't know if I believe that, Shannon. I don't know if I believe that's what happened with Gretchen. I think Gretchen is lying. I think she tried to concoct some sort of drama for the season storyline, and it fell flat. I think she fell flat. I think she probably had just as bad, if not worse, season than Alexis did. I don't want to see Gretchen come back for season 20. I think they need to make some major changes for season 20. Those changes do not include Katie. I don't see them bringing back Katie, unless Katie has a couple of friends that she's going to bring with her. But no, I'm telling you right now, if Katie comes back, you're going to see something similar happen again. You're going to see something similar happen again. But no promises. I will be recapping next season of Real Housewives of Orange County. After this season, I'm done. I have plenty of other shows to talk about. I can't wait to talk about Kimora Lee Simmons and her new reality show. I would much rather sit here and talk to you about a Squid Game, the challenge, which has been amazing. If you're a Club Kempire member, I'll talk more about it there. Ooh, I love the game. I really do. I love the game so much that I'm going to rewatch those last 3 episodes, because there's a certain I was taking the tree out at the same time while I'm trying to watch. I need to sit down and pay attention because they're getting grimy, but they're fighting over $4.65 million. But they're getting grimy. And some of the people that I really liked did not make it to the end, even though there's one particular lady that I like, and I think she's made it pretty far. So we shall see. We shall see. What else did I want to talk about in regards to reality television? I think that was it, right? Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to let me know how you would rate part 2 of the Real Housewives of Orange County reunion. If you are watching this and you're in Vegas at BravoCon, let us know in the chat. And you're watching this because BravoCon hasn't started yet for you, because when this comes out, you're probably online. So if you're online, I'm waving to you. You're probably online waiting to get in, or maybe you're getting breakfast and you're getting ready to head on in. Let us know. I want to hear about everyone's BravoCon experience. Okay, maybe we'll do a live call in. You guys can call in and let us know about your BravoCon experience. If you have tea to spill, feel free. I will still be talking about BravoCon from the comforts of my home here in New York City while I decorate the Christmas trees in the studio and in the living space. Okay. And I'm going to love every second of it. All right. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. Become a member today at TheKempire.com/join. And of course, thank you to our subscribers. And if you're not a subscriber, get subscribed. You're missing out. We don't just talk about Housewives here on the channel. We talk about everything in pop culture. And we had a lot of stories this week. So be sure to check out some of the things that you may have missed here on the channel. And if you're watching this on X or Facebook or on Twitch, make sure you're following us on YouTube. And if you're not following us on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheKempire. You can also hear an audio version of our live recaps and special episodes and extended episodes on the Kempire podcast. So be sure to subscribe today and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And thank you to our sponsor for today's recap, Factor. More information on your deal and special discounts will be available in the description or episode notes. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching and, of course, for listening. See you all in the next one. Bye, y'all.